Hello, thank you for coming today. I'm going to talk about a open source tool that we've built at Punk Security called PwnSpoof. We have developed two different open source projects. I'm going to talk about the second project towards the end of this presentation, but today we're going to talk about PwnSpoof and what it does. So, first of all, who am I? Well, my name's Daniel Oates-Lee. I'm one of the co-directors at Punk Security. I've been working in IT for over 25 years. I started off as a developer, moved into infrastructure support, then fell into cybersecurity because I just kept hacking and messing about and breaking systems. Currently working as a cybersecurity consultant, kind of specializing in DevSecOps, DevOps, and a little bit of pen testing. The reason I put Terraformer and Automator down there is because I love automating every mortal possible thing that I do. So anything that I can do and I can repeat it, I will most certainly do it. So where did PwnSpoof come from? How did we come up with this idea and what's it all about? So it came from a delivery package that we were delivering to a government department. And what the ask was is that they wanted to be able to teach their incident responders how to be able to pivot through web logs and look for threats. And we kind of, they wanted to learn how to be able to use regex and real-time extraction inside Splunk. And they wanted to be able to leverage some of the geolocation functionality in it. And we thought, well, how do we get these logs? Where do they come from? So we sat down and we had a thought, had to think about it. We thought, well, there's three places that you can get log files from. You can either get them from a real attack, you can create something, or you can try and spoof something. So what are the advantages of these? Well, a real attack, it's authentic, but it's going to be full of sensitive information. It's only going to be one time. And by the time there's going to be parts of the attack that might be missing. It's not really scalable. So we kind of dismissed that idea. We then moved on to, could we reproduce something? Could we stand up a test environment and could we build something out? And we thought, yeah, we probably could. You could spend ages building a vulnerable application. You could stand up some clients, start creating user activities. But again, it's not very easy to do, and it takes time and effort. And then we thought, well, we could spoof something. And that's kind of where we kind of ended up going towards. So producing a real set of logs would involve, like, as I was just saying, a proper web application, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of time and effort. But if we start looking at how we can spoof the logs, well, what are the logs themselves? They're just a flat file system. There's an RFC that stipulates how the log files need to look and how they need to feel. And it's very easy to just create a bunch of text inside a log file. And it's easy for us to manipulate and change. But we decided that rather than just creating a bunch of GET requests, we would try and make it look as real as possible. So what we did is we broke it up into three parts. You've got this part over here, which is kind of the interaction with the website itself. Then you've got the user interactions themselves. And then we created like this activity pattern. So the interaction over here helps create things like the URL, the amount of data that was sent, the reference headers, trying to make it look as realistic as possible. And then we spent a bit of time on creating like usernames. We spent some time looking at the the source IPs, and we've done quite well with that. We've gone and collected the geolocation databases and then used that for figuring out where users might be located. And spent a bit of time around, when do users normally use kind of websites and stuff like that. So to try and make the pattern of life here, this little bit of kind of artificial intelligence-y bit, as realistic as possible. What happens is we'll create the sessions, and then we then sort the sessions and then output the information into a log file. So what we've done inside the logs is we've created 3 different types of applications to be spoofed. We've got a fake banking app, we've got a generic website, and we've also outputted a WordPress server. We then configured the Python script to be able to output in IIS, Nginx, or Apache log formats, because obviously there's lots of different web services and people need to be able to collect the logs. We created a lot of background noise. So as I was saying, rather than just doing URL requests, we've got requests for CSS files, JavaScripts, trying to make the log files look as authentic as possible. And then we started looking at making sure that we've got like the reference fields all correct as well. So when you're actually looking at these logs, you could be mistaken for thinking that they were accurate. So what are some of the use cases for this? Obviously there's training, and PwnSpoof is now being used in a couple of universities across in America for used by the lecturers for helping the students read some log files. It's also used by JJ Davies for some of his training when he's training his SIM threat hunters. It's also been used in a couple of CTFs. It's been used specifically in war games. It's been used by B-Sides up in Newcastle as part of their CTF, and Digital Overdose. That's actually was used last year, and Punk Security are sponsoring it this year, and we're running another CTF with it. So what we'll do is we'll generate a bunch of flags, hide that information inside the log files, and then ask you to go and try and hunt them out. But let's see if I can actually do a proper live demo, and I'll show you what the Python script looks like, how quick it is to actually generate these log files, and then how you can ingest them and what they look like inside Splunk. So let's just hope the demo gods are with me. Right. Is that large enough for everybody? Yeah. Everybody at the back, you can see that all right? Yeah? Cool. Brilliant. Right, just give me a second. I'm just going to log into PwnSpoof. So as I say, PwnSpoof is it's a Python script, and I'll zoom out a little bit just so you can see this. So we've got, obviously we've got the beautiful ASCII art up at the top, because why not throw that back to retro styles. We've got a couple of arguments that you need to use. So obviously we've got the 3 different types of application that you might be interested in. We created a banking app, and it shows a user logging in and being able to transfer some data around. Some money around. We've got a WordPress site, and we've got a generic app. The -out, that's used for where you're going to store your log files. You can enable this --IOCs, and what that'll do is it will output on the screen the indicators of compromise. Say that you're running a challenge for your kids or fellow colleagues or whatever. You need to know whether they've actually found the threat actor. You can also state the start date and end date of the log files, how many log sessions there are. By default, we put in 2,000 users. So it'll generate 2,000 users worth of activities over a period of, I think it's about 3 weeks by default. You can also set the number of user sessions. You can customize your server FQDNs if you want to. I am also going to just quickly explain. You can also add into this where is it now? I think it's that one there. Yeah, I think it's that file there. You can go into Burp Suite and you can do a site map of your own website if you wanted to, so you could make it look, dump the structure of your own website out to help generate authentic logs for your users. And then obviously you've got the server log types here. So you've got IIS, you've got Nginx, or you've got CLFs, which is generally Apache. You can also put some attack settings down here. By default, it'll randomize it. So it'll only, by default, unless you say how many times you want somebody to be attacking you, it'll hide one attack inside this log file. The default is also a brute force, but you can either do brute force or a command injection attack. So showing that the user's entering a command injection. And you can also state the geolocation of your attacking group. So obviously if you want to blame Russia for something, then you can just type in RU and away you go. You can also edit the user agent that the attacker might be wanting to use. So I'm just going to clear my screen again. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly generate a log. Actually, I won't. I'm going to type this out down at the bottom. All right, so what we're going to do is, in this case, we're going to create a WordPress output. Sorry. We're going to create a WordPress one. We're going to output the file into this area, so we'll call it webapp.log. I'm not going to output the indicator. Well, actually, I'll show you what you get with the indicators of compromise. We're also going to put in the server FQDN as punksecurity.co.uk, and we're going to set the server log type to set it to Nginx. Does anybody want to stipulate where the attacker's geolocation might come from? Ireland, right? Okay. I believe it's IE for Ireland. So what it'll do now, it's now generating those 2,000 users worth of activities. It's randomly generating them. They might be slightly out of order. So it generates all the sessions first, and then it'll order those sessions, and it'll output it into the log file, and that is it. It's as quick and as easy as that. Something that would normally have taken you several months to build the infrastructure, build the application, is now just taking you about 10 seconds to run and generate a log file. Now, this log file will be unique every time you run it. And the reason that we wanted that uniqueness is when we're delivering our training for threat hunting, it's, the students don't just go, oh, yes, it's this IP address, and then share it amongst themselves. They've actually got to go and do the work themselves. So now we've done that, we'll just quickly open up my favorite So there are other SIMs that you can input stuff into. I'm just happy to use Splunk because it's nice and easy for me to spin up. Oh, helps if I can type the password. Give me a second. And is it inspect? Yeah. Oh, it's just password. I just set a quick Docker image this morning, just for this. So we go and ingest the log file. Just upload the log file, and there it is. There you go. You can see that it's 28 meg, near enough. Click next. We then state what kind of log file it is. It's already picked it out, so that's perfect for us. We'll create a new demo 1. Yep, it's already going to use demo 1. Preview, next, and then it'll be uploaded. And now we can start going in and we can start carving this data up. So we can start running things like, if we have a quick look over a period of time, zoom out. Oh, did I mean to do that? No. Sorry. There you go. You can see that it started on the 5th, on the 5th of March, and it's gone all the way up to like the 20th. And if you have a look down through these, you can see that Splunk's done a marvelous job at identifying all these different areas, and you can see some of your client IP addresses and what have you. And then you can start carving up your data. So you can do it by account, by the HTTP status code. Oops. There you go. And you can start seeing that there's like quite a lot of successfuls, there's some redirects, and there's some 401s. We might be interested in going and investigating those 401s and going further and deeper. One of the things that we were wanting to get people to understand is how to start searching around this. And I'm not going to deliver a course about how to use Splunk and regexit. It's something that we're looking to do later on. Yeah, so there you go. You can see that you can generate these log files really quickly, chuck them into Splunk, and you start carving up the data and playing around with stuff. Shall I go back to the demo? Yeah, so we've covered off the actual bits themselves. What we've also done is we've also added in a bit of smoke testing into the script itself. So if we find that we're looking for a certain number of sessions, it's estimated to be 100 sessions, and we wanted 10 users, then it's going through and it's doing some mathematical calculations to make sure that it's not randomly just not generating the correct amount of data. Let's just have a quick look. So yeah, I recorded these just in case stuff was going to go wrong. So this is a screenshot of Splunk again, with showing you how that pattern of life that we created kind of follows a standard pattern. You know, you've got users logging in the morning for the banking app, and then they might do a little bit of spike of activity in the evenings, but then die off overnight. One of the latest features that we've done is, well, this is a few months ago, but we've added inside Splunk the ability for you to be able to go and collect that sitemap, as I was just explaining. And on the roadmap, for stuff that we'd like to do, we're busy working on at the moment, we're trying to create a pip install, so you can just go into Python and you can just download and install this without having to do any, go to our GitHub and go and download stuff. We're also looking to add more applications into like that area where it's got banking, WordPress, and generic website. We're looking to put more stuff inside there. We're looking to add some more attack types. So rather than just the brute force and command injection, we're looking to put some extra stuff in there. But we're trying to be we're trying to be as realistic as possible about it, because there's only so much that you can get in some of these logs. We also want to do slightly better geo lookups and start developing some training packages for people. So just do a couple of little PowerPoint slides and maybe a couple of videos explaining how to get the log files into a SIM, how you can start doing some regex lookups and stuff like that. And anything else that you guys can think of that PwnSpoof might be able to do. We've been approached by Greylogs as well, and asked whether we can potentially get PwnSpoof to create Windows event logs. We've been investigating that, and we think it is possible. We're just trying to figure out the best ways of being able to do that. Now, I know I'm at the end now, but I'm also going to quickly talk about another project that we've also got on the roadmap. But I'll take some questions first if anybody's got any questions or anything you'd like me to go back over again. No? All right, that's cool. So another project that we've currently been working on, and I'll just minimize that, is a ransomware readiness audit tool called SMBeagle. And what this does is it runs as a low privilege user on your on an endpoint, and you can then collect information about your network shares, and it'll iterate through your network as a low privilege user, dump out your file shares and your structures, put them into an elastic stack, so then you can better understand how and where all of your network shares are. It's also being used by red teamers as well to be able to go and hunt down and find rogue file shares with passwords in, and we've just ported that onto Linux as well. But I think that's it for me.